sejak awal berkomitmen memajukan bangsa melalui pendidikan. UPN Veteran Jakarta mengukuhkan diri sebagai kampus bela negara yang merupakan identitas tak terpisahkan sejak kampus ini berdiri tahun 1958 hingga mencapai status universitas negeri pada tahun 2014. Sejak itu, transformasi terus bergulir.
UPN Veteran Jakarta sebagai PTN adalah merupakan akhir dari proses panjang tentang kejelasan status. Dengan menjadi PTN, maka ada kepastian tentang status tersebut, dan selanjutnya yang terpenting saat ini adalah bagaimana UPN Veteran Jakarta mampu untuk sejajar dengan PTN-PTN lainnya. Dan tentu saja yang terutama adalah bagaimana UPN Veteran Jakarta dapat memberikan kontribusi dan pencapaian program pemerintah khususnya di dalam pendidikan tinggi. Dalam hal ini adalah program dari Kemenristek-Dikti.
Bela negara menjadi rujukan dalam penyusunan kurikulum demi mewujudkan visi UPN Veteran Jakarta, yaitu menuju perguruan tinggi berbadan hukum, inovatif, berdaya saing yang beridentitas bela negara tahun 2025.
Dalam rangka mentransformasi UPN Veteran Jakarta menjadi PTN yang unggul dan berdaya saing di tingkat nasional, kerjasama menjadi faktor yang sangat penting bagi kita. Kita selama 4 tahun terakhir itu selalu masuk dalam posisi 10 besar. Jadi kualitas mahasiswa yang masuk di UPN ini mahasiswa yang cerdas dan sangat cerdas. Jadi secara keseluruhan upaya peningkatan kualitas pembelajaran kita lakukan secara sistematik, mulai dari kultur akademik, kemudian desain kurikulumnya, sampai peningkatan kualitas SDM kita hingga sarana prasarana pembelajaran.
Didukung dosen dan tenaga kependidikan yang handal, UPN Veteran Jakarta siap menjadikan setiap lulusannya mumpuni dalam 7 fakultas yang tersedia. Fakultas Ilmu Sosial dan Ilmu Politik, Fakultas Hukum, Fakultas Ilmu Komputer, Fakultas Kedokteran, Fakultas Teknik, Fakultas Ilmu Kesehatan, serta Fakultas Ekonomi dan Bisnis. Sementara untuk menunjang kegiatan akademik, UPN Veteran Jakarta menyediakan pusat bahasa atau Labimkar, LBH atau hukum, sarana ibadah, poliklinik, laboratorium teknik, laboratorium kedokteran, laboratorium stem cell, laboratorium penunjang lainnya, perpustakaan, sarana olahraga, dan keamanan.
Di dalam mendukung daya saing para mahasiswa di dalam menempuh proses belajar mengajar di UPN Veteran Jakarta, UPN Veteran Jakarta telah memiliki beberapa sarana prasarana yang dapat digunakan sebagai salah satu peningkatan daya saing. Antara lain adalah perpustakaan yang sudah online, ya, berbasis dengan digital 4.0, di mana para mahasiswa saat ini bisa memperoleh referensi melalui online, jurnal-jurnal melalui online. Demikian juga sarana prasarana pendukung, kita memiliki Mesh Classroom. Di sini digunakan Mesh Classroom ini adalah suatu kelas yang dapat dilaksanakan kuliah secara bersamaan dengan teknologi yang canggih, di mana para mahasiswa dapat mengikuti dan para mahasiswa secara langsung dapat berinteraksi dari tenaga pengajarnya yang ada di satu tempat. Ya, sarana ini ada di kampus Pondok Labu maupun di kampus Limo.
Berbagai kerjasama dengan lintas pihak terus dilakukan untuk meningkatkan kualitas pendidikan dan meningkatkan lulusan pada kerja nyata. Sementara untuk meningkatkan kapasitas non-akademik, mahasiswa difasilitasi 25 unit kegiatan mahasiswa yang dapat dipilih sesuai minat.
Program-program yang kita terapkan di UPN Veteran Jakarta kepada mahasiswa pada dasarnya adalah peningkatan kualitas kegiatan kemahasiswaan yang nantinya akan meningkatkan rasa cinta kepada tanah air, rela berkorban demi nusa dan bangsa, dan juga berjiwa bela negara. Peningkatan rasa cinta tanah air itu diwujudkan dalam kegiatan kemahasiswaan yang sungguh-sungguh, kemudian mencapai prestasi yang tinggi baik di tingkat nasional dan juga internasional.
Berbagai kelengkapan sarana hingga prasarana tersebut telah menjadikan UPN Veteran Jakarta sebagai kampus rujukan generasi cinta negara. Tingkat kepercayaan di kalangan calon mahasiswa terus tumbuh. Animo pelajar untuk berkuliah di UPN Veteran Jakarta terus meningkat. Hal ini dapat dilihat dari masuknya 2 program studi UPN Veteran Jakarta dalam 10 prodi sosial dan humaniora dengan peminat terbanyak di Indonesia. Program studi ilmu komunikasi menempati urutan kedua dengan peminat sebanyak 2.981 calon-calon mahasiswa. Sementara program studi manajemen berada di urutan ke-7 dengan peminat 2.532 calon mahasiswa. Selain itu, nilai rata-rata calon mahasiswa yang masuk ke UPN Veteran Jakarta untuk program studi sains dan teknologi berada di urutan ke-10 dari perguruan tinggi di seluruh Indonesia. Berbagai prestasi tersebut telah menjadikan kampus UPN Veteran Jakarta sebagai salah satu kampus unggulan di Indonesia. Dalam 3 tahun terakhir, peringkat kampus secara nasional terus meningkat. Kemenristek mencatat di tahun 2018, UPN Veteran Jakarta berada di peringkat 143, meningkat 290 angka dari tahun 2017. Pada tahun 2019, UPN Veteran Jakarta masuk 100 kampus unggulan nasional atau berada di peringkat ke-77. Transformasi UPN Veteran Jakarta yang telah menjadi universitas negeri adalah tonggak awal menuju era baru, mewujudkan universitas terkemuka di Indonesia.
Selamat berkarya, maju bersama, meraih prestasi.
Salam bela negara.
Selamat datang di FIKES, Fakultas Ilmu Kesehatan Universitas Pembangunan Nasional Veteran Jakarta. Kampus dengan sumber daya manusia visioner, tempat mendidik tenaga kesehatan profesional yang beridentitas bela negara.
Dalam sejarahnya, FIKES ini didirikan oleh para pejuang, veteran kemerdekaan Indonesia yang mereka berupaya untuk mencerdaskan kehidupan bangsa untuk melakukan pendidikan di dalam berbagai profesi kesehatan. Dan alhamdulillah pada tahun 1995 sudah mulai berada dalam naungan yayasan. Dan pada tanggal 5 Oktober 2007 maka Fikes di UPN menjadi resmi sebagai fakultas.
Di usia ke-13, Fikes UPN Veteran Jakarta telah membawahi 6 program studi, yaitu program studi S1 Ilmu Keperawatan, program studi Profesi Nurse, program studi S1 Ilmu Kesehatan Masyarakat, Diploma 3 Keperawatan, Diploma 3 Fisioterapi, dan program studi S1 Gizi. Sebagai lembaga pendidikan profesi, para lulusan di Fikes dijamin berkompeten. Sebelum meninggalkan status mahasiswa, atas mereka dilakukan uji kompetensi. Artinya, para lulusan adalah orang-orang yang telah siap berkarir di dunia kerja.
Pendidikan itu diawali dari kurikulum. Dan kurikulum itu harus berbasis kepada kompetensi. Kompetensi itu didapatkan dari dunia usaha, dunia kerja, dan setelah mereka mendapatkan mengabdikan di dalam pelayanan maupun dalam industri. Nah, Fikes itu karena pendidikan profesi itu ada uji kompetensinya. Jadi baik D3 ataupun S1 mereka melalui uji kompetensi. Dan alhamdulillah tingkat kelulusannya hampir dikatakan rata-rata ya di atas 75%. Ya, bahkan ada yang 100%. Ya, ini adalah modal mereka yakin bahwa kependidikan itu mereka ternyata begitu tes akan di dunia kerjanya mereka sudah lulus. Sudah itu maka mereka bisa bekerja di dunia kerjanya masing-masing. Dan ini karena Fikes profesi maka ada kesepakatan di dalam dunia profesi itu pendidikan itu harus menghasilkan tenaga seperti apa. Jadi kita tidak bikin pendidikan sendiri suka-sukanya, nggak bisa. Kesehatan itu adalah pendidikan yang harus ada kesepakatan profesi dari negara, kemudian sampai juga masyarakat, sampai juga profesi sendiri. Dan bila ada perubahan, maka perubahan itu harus diajak juga mereka. Nggak bisa kita setiap program studi atau kampus atau merubah sini, nggak bisa. Kita harus sama-sama menduduk bersama. Itulah ada asosiasi profesi dan ada asosiasi pendidikan profesi masing-masing. Itu yang menyebabkan bedanya pendidikan profesi dengan pendidikan non-profesi, terutama khususnya di dalam kesehatan.
Ada satu yang istimewa, sebagai lembaga pendidikan yang punya kekhususan matra, Fikes lebih siap dalam menghadapi bencana. Dengan itu, artinya Fikes ikut berperan serta dalam membela negara melalui pendidikan kesehatan.
Fakultas yang seperti itu belum banyak atau katakanlah hampir tidak ada. Ya, baru di Fikes yang berorientasi untuk kekhususan matra. Salah satu khusus yang matra adalah bagaimana menangani masalah bencana, siap mitigasi, responsif terhadap bencana. Ya. Nah, pada saat seperti ini itu kita semua profesi yang ada di Fikes, yang ada di program studi, karena Fikes itu merupakan pendidikan profesi, tidak ada yang tidak profesi. Ya, semua itu dia bergabung melakukan suatu kegiatan bersama jika ada bencana gempa, bencana tsunami, bencana banjir. Ya, kemudian yang kemarin ini, yang sekarang ini dilakukan adalah bencana terhadap adanya pandemi COVID-19, dan itu kita coba mahasiswa mulai dari relawan, ya, kemudian dosen-dosennya juga turun serta, ya, bagaimana mengkreasikan, bagaimana menulis juga, bagaimana menjadi bagian riset. Jadi apa yang dibuat itu dibuat supaya menjadikan bekal untuk pengetahuan di masa mendatangnya. Jadi tulis, catat, rekam, dan publikasikan, karena orang akan tahu kita akan unggul dalam kesehatan matra setelah kita mempublikasikan. Jadi kekhususan kesehatan matra harapannya berbedanya, unggulnya di situ kita lebih siap dalam masalah kebencanaan. Ya, mahasiswa ataupun alumni dari Fikes UPN Veteran Jakarta lebih siap dibandingkan dengan yang lain yang mungkin itu belum sebanyak seperti yang dilakukan di kita.
Sivitas Akademika Fikas terus memberikan dorongan kepada tenaga pendidik untuk menulis jurnal dan publikasi ilmiah. Hal itu sejalan dengan Peraturan Rektor Nomor 76 Tahun 2019, di mana disebutkan bahwa beban minimal penelitian dosen mulai dari 3,0 sampai 5,4 SKS sesuai dengan jabatan akademik. Pimpinan Fikas juga melakukan kerjasama dengan LPPM, kerjasama yang berkaitan dengan penyelenggaraan workshop dan penyusunan proposal, baik untuk skema penelitian Simlitapmas maupun skema Rispro.
Dari kegiatan tersebut, hasilnya tahun 2019 terdapat publikasi sesuai dengan laporan PKDK tahun 2019, yakni yang pertama adalah publikasi internasional Triindek itu ada 4 judul, kemudian publikasi internasional 4 judul, publikasi nasional terakreditasi 6 judul, publikasi nasional 72 judul, jumlah haki 11 haki, kemudian jumlah sitasi 56 judul. Berdasarkan peraturan rektor tentang skep penelitian, maka tahun 2020 dosen Fakultas Ilmu Kesehatan memperoleh dana penelitian untuk dana DRPM itu 1 judul, kemudian dana dengan skema internal UPN 29 judul, dan dana dengan skema COVID ada 4 judul.
Semua hasil kerja keras tenaga pendidik dalam menghadirkan karya tulis sebagai buah pikir dan karya intelektual dari keluarga besar Fikas itu didukung sepenuhnya oleh fakultas. Berbagai kebijakan hingga pendanaan diberikan. Tentu kiprah dosen bermuara pada terangkatnya nama baik Fikas dan UPN Veteran Jakarta.
Tentunya dukungan terhadap penelitian dan abdinasi ini terkait dengan tupoksi dari bidang 1. Dalam hal ini bidang 2 hanya dalam hal mendukung dalam segi pembiayaannya. Misalnya mendukung akan tersedianya fasilitas sarana dan prasarana tentunya yang bermadai dan berkualitas. Antara lain dalam hal dukungan terhadap pembentukan unit penelitian dan abdimas, pemberian dana penelitian dan abdimas, insentif dalam hal pemberian terhadap penerbitan jurnal, dan pemberian dana bagi dosen yang melibatkan mahasiswa di dalam penelitian dan abdimas.
Tidak sebatas di ruang kuliah, para mahasiswa Fikas juga diarahkan untuk aktif dalam berbagai kegiatan kemahasiswaan.
Pihak Dekanat Fikas UPN Veteran Jakarta menyelenggarakan berbagai kegiatan kemahasiswaan yang bertujuan untuk meningkatkan kemampuan mahasiswa dalam manajemen praktis, berorganisasi, menumbuhkan apresiasi terhadap olahraga dan seni, kepramukaan, bela negara, pecinta alam, jurnalistik, dan bakti sosial yang dilaksanakan oleh para organisasi kemahasiswaan yang ada di lingkungan Fikas UPN Veteran Jakarta.
Dengan semangat kejuangan, bermitra dengan berbagai pemangku kepentingan dan beradaptasi dengan lingkungan kesehatan, Fikas terus merespon perkembangan kesehatan Indonesia. Berbagai kerjasama baik di dalam maupun di luar negeri terus dijalin. Dengan itu, Fikas mencoba untuk terus berupaya menghasilkan tenaga kesehatan profesional dalam meningkatkan derajat kesehatan masyarakat Indonesia. Para pimpinan di tingkat fakultas dan universitas menargetkan lulusan Fikas 100% tepat waktu, 100% lulus uji kompetensi, dan waktu tunggu lulusan untuk memperoleh pekerjaan kurang dari 6 bulan. Selamat datang di Fikas. Mari belajar ilmu kesehatan dan menjadi profesional dengan identitas bela negara.
Bangunlah seluruh bangsa Indonesia, hadapi tantangan yang coba. Raihlah cita-cita yang mulia, Indonesia makmur dan sentosa. Walau berbagai suku dan agama, ragam budaya serta golongan, satu untuk semua, semua untuk satu, jaya Indonesia.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Shalom. Om Swastiastu, Namo Buddhaya, salam kebajikan. Good morning everyone. Honorable speakers, Nindya Nurmayasari SPC, Dian Lutfiana Sufyan SGZ MGZ, Dr. Nur Intania Sofianita SIKOM MKM. Respected participants of this webinar. First of all, let's thank the Almighty Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala who has given us some mercies and blessings so that we can attend this agenda without any troubles and obstacles. Secondly, salawat and salam may always be given to our Prophet Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, who has guided us from the darkness to the light. I would like to introduce myself. I, Risnaulan Hendari, will be your master of ceremony this morning. It's really a great honor for me to be here and welcome each of you in this webinar. Welcome to today's event, iNut webinar, with the theme Mental Health and Nutrition Among School-Age Children. Once again, we would like to thank everyone here for making time to attend this remarkable webinar. Ladies and gentlemen, on this occasion, allow me to introduce you to today's agenda. First, opening. Second, webinar rules. Third, singing Indonesia Raya. Fourth, photo session. Followed by presentation from our speakers. And the last is closing. Before we start the webinar, please allow me to read the webinar rules. Participants are encouraged to activate the camera during the event. Participants are requested to keep the microphone turned off during the event to avoid sound interference. Participants are encouraged to use a virtual background that has been provided by the committee. Question and answer will be conducted at the end of each speaker session. Participants can ask questions via link on the comment section provided by the committee. Incoming question will be selected and submitted by the moderator. And to get a certificate, participants must fill the attendance form that will be given at the end of the event with proof of attendance. Sebelum kita memulai webinar hari ini, izinkan saya untuk membacakan peraturan webinar. Peserta dihimbau untuk mengaktifkan kamera selama acara berlangsung. Peserta dimohon untuk tetap mematikan mikrofon selama berjalan di acara untuk menghindari gangguan suara. Peserta diwajibkan menggunakan virtual background yang telah disediakan oleh panitia. Sesi tanya-jawab akan dilakukan di setiap akhir sesi pemateri. Para peserta bisa mengajukan pertanyaan melalui link yang telah disediakan oleh panitia. Pertanyaan yang masuk akan dipilih dan disampaikan oleh moderator. Dan untuk mendapatkan sertifikat, peserta dimohon mengisi absensi yang akan diberikan di akhir acara dengan ketentuan memberikan bukti screenshot mengikuti webinar ini. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, let's begin today's agenda by singing Indonesia Raya and March Universitas Pembangunan Nasional Veteran Jakarta. Moving to the next agenda is a photo session. For participants and invited guests, please turn on your camera for a photo session. I'll be guiding in a count of 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Thank you to all participants and invited guests. Ladies and gentlemen, now we proceed to the main agenda. This agenda will be guided by Handa Messi Aryani as today's moderator. Before this agenda is being guided, please allow me to read the moderator's curriculum vitae. Handa Messi is graduate from SMIN 7 Tambun Selatan in 2020. She currently study at Department of Science Nutrition, Universitas Pembangunan Nasional Veteran Jakarta. Handa experienced several organizations such as active member of Scout in 2016 until 2017, active member of KSM Batavia in 2020. Besides organizational experience, she also contributed in some projects. In 2020, Handa became the Committee of Public Relations Division of NUDE. Also in 2020, she became favorite winner of infographic competition in Department of Science Nutrition UPN Veteran Jakarta. In 2021, she holds a position as the Chief Committee of Mirakema Vicus. All right, without further ado, to Handa, time is yours.
Okay, thank you MC for introducing me. Good morning to you all. First of all, I'd like to give my courtesy to honorable speakers, Ms. Nindya Nurmayasari, SPC, Ms. Dian Lutfiana Sufyan, SGZ, MGZ, Dr. Nur Intania Sofianita, SIKOM, MKM. Second of all, I would like to thank you all of you for joining this conference. It is indeed an honor to see and welcome you all to this conference. Please let me introduce myself. I'm Handa Messi Aryani, and I will be your moderator for today's conference. Before we start the presentation, I would like to read the script of this webinar and notify the audience. Today, we have 3 speakers who would like to share their experience and knowledge with us. We have Ms. Nindya Nurmayasari, SPC, as the first speaker who will be presenting about introducing the management of emotion to school-age children. We have Ms. Dian Lutfiana Sufyan, SGZ, MGZ, as our second speaker who will be presenting about childhood obesity at school and obesogenic environment. And last but not least, Dr. Nur Intania Sofianita, SIKOM, MKM, as our third speaker who will be presenting about children's eating behavior. Before the presentation begins, I would like to give a notice about how the presentation will be going on. Firstly, each speaker will be given about 40 minutes to present their topic and 20 minutes to do a Q&A session. Each participant will also be given opportunities to ask questions. So, if you have any question, please let us know at the end of the session. All right, let's begin with our first speaker, Ms. Nindya Nurmayasari, SPC. She is a children's author and founder of the Club Literasi Anak. She is specialist of educational psychology of children parents. She is a selected writer in one of the winners in Paul Channel Content Context in 2019. She is a selected writer in the writing context of the Literacy Reading Book of the Ministry of Education and Culture in 2019 and 2021. All right. Without further ado, please welcome our first speaker, Ms. Nindya Nurmayasari SC, who will be presenting about introducing the management of emotion to school-age children. For Ms. Nindya, you may present your material.
Okay, thank you. Hello, everyone. Good morning. I'm so happy to be in this wonderful event. So I would like to thank Vikas UPN Veteran Jakarta for the opportunity that has been given to me. On this occasion, together we will discuss about introducing the management of emotion to school-age children. Next. All right, now I want to introduce myself first. My name is Nindya Maya. I am a children book author, storyteller, and founder of Club Literasi Anak. Until now, I have written more than 45 children's books. Next. Yeah, this is some of the books I have written. On the top, you can see the Edukasi Corona book series, and the bottom are Mengenal Emosi book series. The Edukasi Corona book series was published during the pandemic in 2020 as a writer of children's book. At that time, my colleague and I thought that it's not only adults who were anxious and worried about the uncertain condition during the pandemic, children also felt it. And during this pandemic, the situation has changed drastically. For example, people are required to stay at home, not only allowed to leave the house, even go to school and work due to the spread of coronavirus. The situation surely affects not only the parents, but also the children. Children want to know what really happened. On the other hand, parents may find it difficult how to explain this pandemic situation in a simpler way to their children. So we hope that this book series can serve as a media to help the parents explain to their children about what happened in the current situation. This book series contains 11 stories that can be read for free on Instagram at Cerita Si Corona. Then, earlier of this year, my colleague and I independently published a book series called Mengenal Emosi. This book series aims to introduce a variety of emotion to children. In about 3 months, this book series has been sold for around 9,500 sets of books, and each book set consists of 12 books. From the enthusiasm that the parents show by purchasing and reviewing our book series, I saw that introducing emotion to children is something that is really needed. This may also relate to the fact that recently, the issues of mental health are in the spotlight. This is an important discussion, but is often overlooked because the symptoms are not physically visible, while actually mental health can affect important aspects in a person. And we do hope that this book series can become media for the children and the parents as well to learn about how to recognize and manage emotion in children. Okay, next. Okay, now we're going to talk about introducing the management of emotion to school-age children. We know that the children world is indeed very interesting to learn. Through the children world, we can learn that life is so dynamic, continues to grow. children grow and develop according to their stage of development. In this part of discussion, we will focus on how school-age children grow and develop, and also how they experience psychological changes during the pandemic. Also, we will talk about how to introduce emotion to children and how parents play a role in helping children to manage their emotion. Next. Also, okay, all right. So we know that every child ideally develops according to the stages of development. To understand children fully, we need to know what their stages of development are. Children development is not only in terms of physique, but also in terms of social life and emotion. So here are the development of children at school. First, the development of 6 up to 7 years old children. Here, the children learn to be more physically and motorly active. They start learning on how to socialize with others, become more independent, and start learning to play in groups with their peers. Also, in this stage, they can be invited to work together and more responsible. At this stage, the children begin to develop their social and communication skill by interacting with others. The second, the development of 8 up to 9 years old children. During this age, the children begin to have a sense of competition. They also start to spend a lot of time playing with their friends, start to believe in themselves, and are able to solve more complex problems. They also might have the ability to evaluate others and themselves, and so become more sensitive to others' people's judgment. Therefore, bullying often happens during this year, and children also enthusiastic about doing activities that are interesting to them. They also have emotional states that tend to change quickly. And the last, the development of 10 up to 12 years old children. So here the children begin to have a more complex circle of friends, and having friends, it's important to them. They also start to understand about the condition of their body as a result of puberty. That's why in this phase, the issue of body image is very common. Then they also have been able to become a more independent person and was able to determine their own choices. Okay, next. Yeah, ideally, a conducive and supportive environment will have a great impact in the children's development. However, since this pandemic started to hit us at the beginning of 2020, this ideal condition had to change. It is undeniable that this pandemic causes feeling of anxiety, worry, fear, and insecurity. The condition of this environment like this also affect the development of children's selves, of course. And there are some conditions that happen during this pandemic are, first, the limitation of children's space to move and socialize with others. We know that during this pandemic, children are not free to develop social and emotional skills. Children spend a lot of time at home alone with their families. It means that they will interact with the same people for a quiet long time now. And of course, this condition will lead to boredom, lack of motivation to study, and difficulty in understanding the learning material given. Yeah, something like that. That is because their needs to more freely socialize and make friends with new people are not met. Then this condition may raise some question for them, such as, why cannot I meet my friends? Why cannot I go to school yet? Well, I've been missing my friends and teachers so much. how long will this condition be going on? Yeah, all this question I think may spark unwanted pressure and stress on the children. And then the second, not being able to meet friends in person. This is very important. As has been explained in the previous child development, school-age children are in period of social development. If their social needs are not met, children will tend to feel lonely, bored, develop low self-esteem, lack of enthusiasm, difficult to sleep, and have anxiety disorder. And the last about online school. Yeah, we know that the change in learning routines from previously offline to online requires adjustment for children. Online learning tends to make it difficult for children to distinguish between time to study, on do other activities at home. Yeah, even sometimes they do online school when they are not quite ready. For example, attending online school right after they wake up and without taking a bath first. Yeah. Whereas children need schedule and rules to make them aware of their self-regulation so that children understand when to study, play, and do tasks. Some students are complained about online learning, which give a lot of assignment. Some others also said that some others said that they could not understand the learning material given because of the bad internet connection, getting distracted by their surroundings, and so on. This condition will become worse if their parents are not able to assist them in studying because they have to work to do. That is why this online learning activity really needs a full cooperation between the teachers and the parents in assisting the children to learn. Next. Yeah, sometimes it's not easy for us to express our emotion directly, right? Especially in a family whose members are not used to tell each other about what they feel, how their day, and etc. The emotion felt by children may not be conveyed, but will be seen from the behavior that will appear later. Behavior is a form of communication. Therefore, parents, teachers, and other family members need to be more careful and sensitive in seeing changes in their children's behavior. Here are some behaviors that needs to be concerned of that appear when I'm teaching or according to their parents. For example, first, the children are not eager to learn. This is like a form of expression of boredom. It could be that children feel bored because the monotonous way of learning. We know that children want to learn by moving a lot and do new activities that are more challenging. And the second, not paying attention while attending online classroom. This is like a form of expression of confused or sad. The limitation of interaction when learning online sometimes make children less able to fully concentrate. Therefore, sometimes children get distracted and find it difficult to understand the learning materials given. Third, feeling anxious whenever hearing the sound of ambulance siren. The expression of feeling anxiety and fear. Maybe some like bad news such as their relatives pass away or become sick and must be admitted to hospital will likely make them feel anxious and fear. Next. Yeah, for teasing their siblings at home. The children may need attention or feel upset with this situation that they do not really understand. Feeling bored and the lack of challenging activities sometimes make children want to seek attention from their surroundings. And then getting bored from staying at home. This is like expression of feeling confused because we know that just being at home and doing the same activities sometimes make children confused about what else they can do. And the last, being addicted to gadget. Yeah, this is the problem, yeah, in this pandemic era. Some children show a symptom like this because they have no idea of what to do while just staying at home. Next. Yeah, not all children experience the negative impact of the pandemic. They are also children who are able to survive, still enjoy studying at home, enjoy the time spent with their family, and can still be enthusiastic about learning. Children whose family given abundant love, provide enough facilities, and let the children explore the learning materials at home freely will grow up to be healthy children and not get affected too much by this pandemic situation. But in the other hand, children will live in family environment which is full of anxiety, pressure, give less freedom to express themselves, and provide not enough attention, will grow up to be children who always feel full of pressure, stress, and frustration. Next. Okay, now let's talk about children mental health. Of course, we don't want that these children give a bad impact on their mental health. Children will have a good mental health if they grow up in a conducive and supportive environment, which facilitates children to develop ideally according to the stages of development, and finally, enable them to manage their emotion appropriately. However, during this pandemic, the conditions are far from ideal, right? Several problems such as the limitation to interact with other people outside, the loss of family members, and the learning situation which is not quite conducive also influence the children's psychological and emotional condition. And mental health itself will affect the way a person thinks, feels, and behaves. Therefore, maintaining mental health is as important as maintaining physical health. The parents, teachers, and children's companions also play an important role in children's mental health. Next. Okay. Any emotion that people, including children, feel is normal, valid, and can be experienced by everyone. Actually, emotion is neutral. There is no such thing as good or bad emotion. However, if the emotion felt are not expressed and channeled properly, it will affect the children's psychological condition and behavior. If this continues, it will affect their daily life and development as well. For example, the children who feel stressed and depressed because of this condition that forced them to stay at home only might get angry easily. Of course, we do not want children to experience such psychological problem in the future, right? Therefore, it's very important to introduce emotion to children, help them to express those emotions, and teach them how to manage emotions. Yet, of course, teaching the children how to recognize and manage their emotions really needs support from the parents and closest environment. Next. Okay, so maybe we have this kind of question. Why is it necessary to introduce emotion to children? Yeah, introducing emotion to children may has many benefits, such as first, understanding the emotion will reduce the children's anxiety. That's because they already know what they feel and no longer think that it's strange. Second, developing their emotional intelligence. With recognizing their own emotion will help the children give appropriate response to it. This will benefit their emotional intelligence. Third, being able to calm their own selves to reduce the inappropriate response. By recognizing their emotion, the children will understand that what they feel is normal and look for a proper way to express it in the best possible way that does not hurt themselves or others. Four, understanding their own emotion help the children become their best selves. Children who are able to express emotion well will focus on the solution and what to do in this kind of situation. This will develop their maturity and help them to become better. Fifth, learning to recognize the emotion helps the parent as well. Yeah, of course. It will make it easier for the parents to decide the best way to deal with the emotion that their children feel. And the last, the children who are able to manage their emotion will also have a good mental health. By being able to manage their emotion, the children will be able to express and channel their emotion properly, and this leads to a good mental health. Next. Okay, what can be done to introduce emotion to children? So here are the steps. First, name the emotions. Second, admit the emotion being felt. Third, manage the emotion. Next. Yeah. To introduce emotion to the children, first give a name to the emotion they are feeling. Also, ask them to define what they feel. For example, when you see your children is angry, you can say, "Why did you yell? Are you angry at your little brother?" Or maybe when you see your children is sad, you can say, "Why do you remain silent? Are you sad that we cannot go to grandma's house?" Or when you want to introduce the emotion of fear, you can say, "What do you feel when you are at home alone? Are you afraid?" So these all a kind of emotion that we can introduce to the children. Next. Yeah, these are some ways that can be done to introduce emotion to children. First, reading books to them to give them illustration about emotion. Some readers of the Mengenal Emosi book series have stated that through reading those books to their children, they find it easier to discuss emotion with them. The children are also able to know and identify what they are feeling. And after reading a book, don't forget to do post-reading activity by discussing the content of the book with the children. For example, we can ask to the children, "What do you usually feel afraid of? How do you feel when you swim with your dad?" And etc. This will help parents to explore their children's understanding about the emotion that they often feel. Second, asking about what they are feeling after doing certain activities. For example, after the children finish attending an online classroom, you can ask, how was the online school? How do you feel after meeting your friends online? How are you feeling today? Yeah, something like that. And the third, making certain emotion to be imitated by the children. When we are introducing the emotion, we can also model some expression. Children at the early school age will understand better if given real example. For example, we can making happy face, angry face, or sad face, yeah, etc. And for next, okay, for encouraging the children to state the emotion that they feel. Makan air di luar ya. Okay, I will continue for encouraging the children to state the emotion that they feel. For example, are you happy today? Why do you keep frowning? Are you sad? And so on. And fifth, having regular time to talk about each other day. It can be done in any possible time, such as right before their bedtime, while having family time, or while having dinner. And the last, asking the children to express what they are feeling through writing, a journal, or drawing. Introducing emotion is a process, and therefore it cannot be done once or twice only. Instead, all the parents, teachers, siblings, or children's companions need to consistently help them to recognize the emotion they are feeling. Next. Okay. In trying to feel the emotion, sometimes it's both comfortable and uncomfortable. This uncomfortable feeling usually happens when we feel sad, angry, anxious, disgusted, and etc. Meanwhile, the comfortable one is usually caused by feeling like pleasure, thought, joy, and etc. Usually, when we feel uncomfortable feeling, we tend to reject or get rid of them. For example, ignoring sad feeling by watching movie, playing games, and so on. And uncomfortable feeling that continue to be ignored and not expressed properly will have a bad impact on a person's psychology. Another better way to respond to the emotion you feel is learning to accept them, realizing and admitting that at that moment we feel sad, angry, afraid, or happy. To do so, all we need to do is just letting someone or us to calm down and take a deep breath while feeling our emotion. Next. Okay. When introducing emotion to children, the response that the parents, teachers, and children's companion give is very important. If the response given is not right, the children might feel that expressing their emotion is unnecessary. So therefore, this is very important to know what the best response to give when the children try to recognize their emotion. First, this is very important. Be a good listener. Listen to the children when they are expressing their emotion and do not interrupt or underestimate it, because it's not easy for children to express their feeling. So when they do so, appreciate it by giving your full attention. Second, show your empathy and acceptance. Ensure the children that whatever they feel is normal and anyone can experience it, so that you too accept it and do not be quick to judge. And if the children need validation of what they are feeling, show some support. Maybe you can say like, yes, I know you were angry earlier. It's okay to feel that way. Now, take a deep breath. Mom is here. You can always tell me whenever you are ready to talk. Or maybe you can say, that's right. I can understand. Maybe I would also feel that way if I were in your position. So you can show your empathy and your acceptance. And third, ask the children to accept their emotion, even though they may feel uncomfortable with it. Ensure them that it's okay because every emotion is neutral. There is no good or bad emotion. For example, I know you're sad. It's okay to be feel that way. It's normal. Yeah. Okay, next. Yeah. Parents, teachers, and children's companions play an important role in helping children manage their emotion. These are several things that can be done by them. There are first, try to manage your own emotion well. Children learn by observing and imitating. Therefore, it's important for the parents to set a good example in managing their emotion first. If the parents have problem in doing it, they should try to resolve it first. There are some cases that parents who assist their children in online learning also have challenges in managing their own emotion. Because all of the activities must be done at home, it makes them get frustrated more easily. Sometimes it can also make the children lose their temper while interacting with their children, which sometimes it will lead to verbal and worse physical violence. Of course, this will have a huge impact on the children's emotion as well. The children will feel frustrated and overwhelmed with so many demands and burdens, and finally become stressed, of course. Thus, it's important for the parents to be able to manage their emotion first. Second, ask the children to take a deep breath. Every time the children feel extreme emotion, calm them by approaching them, then give them a warm touch and ask them to take a deep breath. Third, give them some time to feel the emotion they are feeling. Still, we need to watch and prevent them from doing something aggressive which may hurt themselves and others. When they have been calm, you can ask them to talk. Four, discuss some alternative solution with your children. Ask them if there is anything that can be done to make them feel better. For example, after having a fight with her little sister, your child feeling sad and want to make a fresh drink to make her feel better. So help her to do it to lighten her mood. Okay, the last, do certain activities together. Make some time to do meaningful activities with them because sometimes they just need to have someone by their side to feel better. However, if the parents think they not, sometimes maybe if the parents think they cannot help their children manage their emotion, it suggests for parents to consult with the expert. Yeah, introducing emotion to the children, it's a long journey. Next. Oh, okay. I think that's all from me. I hope that what I have presented to you will be beneficial for all of us. Thank you for your attention. If you want to discuss it further, you can contact me on my Instagram account or via email. And okay, that's all. Now I will return to the moderator. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, Ms. Nindya, for giving us such an informative presentation. Now, let's get into the Q&A session. First, today, there are still many children who feel pressure and insecure because their parents feel their children are smart and able to do things according to their wishes, even though the children who are given high expectation by their parents are not sure whether they can achieve their wishes. These parents, it makes the child's mental health disturbed. So, how can the family understand the concept and state of mental health and continue to support the child even though they don't believe it? Saat ini, masih banyak anak-anak yang merasa tertekan dan tidak percaya diri karena orang tua mereka merasa anaknya pintar dan mampu melakukan sesuatu sesuai keinginan mereka. Padahal si anak yang diberikan ekspektasi yang tinggi oleh orang tuanya merasa tidak yakin apakah bisa mencapai keinginan orang tuanya. Itu membuat kesehatan mental anak terganggu. Nah, bagaimana cara agar keluarga dapat memahami konsep dan keadaan kesehatan mental serta tetap mendukung anak tersebut meskipun mereka tidak mempercayainya?
Okay, that's a nice question. Thank you for the question. Yeah, we know that to build a mental health in family, the first we have to give knowledge to the parents first. Parents, children, parents, teacher, children's companions first, because the mental health can be built in a good situation while the parents cannot trust or cannot respond well to the children. So what can we do to make the parents know about the situation? First, there is family needs other people, maybe like all of us here, to introduce, to give a knowledge that the mental health of children depend on the parents. So the parents have to realize that they have to according their expectation and the potential that children have. So yeah, the first we have to communicate to the parents as well how to build the potential that the potential that can be increased for the children, I think. And yeah, we have to support the children actually and give their courage, accept that whatever they feel. And I think the children have to sometimes support system so they can talk about everything they feel, they think, and yeah, everything to share. Yeah, so like this, first we have to give information to the parents actually. Okay.
Okay, next second question. As we know, there are still many parents who don't care about their children's mental health problems. How important is parenting for a child's mental health, and how to educate parents to learn good parenting? Seperti yang kita ketahui, masih banyak orang tua yang tidak peduli dengan masalah kesehatan mental anaknya. Seberapa pentingkah pola asuh bagi kesehatan mental anak dan bagaimana mendidik orang tua untuk belajar parenting yang baik?
Okay. There is so important for parents to know that mental health can affect in a personal psychological for their stage of life further. So yeah, the parents, I think if the parents want to build a good mental health for children, they have to open mind and looking for any information about how to help the children to be a good person, to express their emotions well, and how to support the development of the children. Yeah, this is very important because the mental health in the children stage, it's can be impact in the next development stages. And how to educate parents to learn good parenting. That I have done, I write a book actually. Maybe we can provide a book about parenting. We can provide some like content about parenting, and yeah, we can just share to parents how to be a good parent for the children. So yeah, to raise a children, it's not just parents' task, as I think, but it's our responsible too. So yeah, we have to approaching the parents first and doing something that we can do, like writing, like teaching, maybe like provide content in media social, and or share one-on-one, or yeah, give some webinar like this to the parents about how to be a good parents. Yeah.
Okay. Next, third question. If a child has a tantrum, how do you control this emotion? Example, a child who is used to online school suddenly has to go to school and cries without stopping. It is enough to just ask, don't want to go to school. Jika anak tantrum, bagaimana cara mengontrol emosi tersebut? Contohnya, seorang anak yang terbiasa sekolah online tiba-tiba harus pergi ke sekolah dan menangis tanpa henti. Apakah cukup hanya bertanya, mengapa anak tidak ingin pergi ke sekolah?
Okay, we know that behavior is a form of communication. So if the child has a tantrum, we know that something uncomfortable feeling that they felt maybe. So what we can do to control the emotions, we can give time to the children. If they're crying a lot and tantrum, we just give time. Okay, you're crying right now. Okay, I will waiting for you. So you can cry and I still here. If you feel enough to cry, you can talk to me like this. So give first show that you accepting the emotion. Okay, your tantrum, I know it's not uncomfortable, and if you want to cry or suddenly tantrum, okay, let you do your tantrum, and I will give you time, maybe 5 minutes, and I be here. And when you ready to talk, you can come to me like this. I think the emotion is just not not for a long time. So it just takes for few minutes. Just be patient and give them time to realize, to experience that feeling. And then after that, maybe after the children's get calm, you can go to your children, and yeah, you can ask when you're ready. Yeah, so first you accept and you give time, and if already calm down, you can ask, what do you want? Okay, what do you feel? Okay, what the solution? What can we do to make you better? You can choose. Yeah, so that we can encourage children to think about the solution, not only reacting impulsive or tantrum. I think like that.
Okay, thank you for answering all the questions. It is now the time to do a photo session. Thank you for your memorable and educational presentation. We would like to give you a small appreciation by giving a certificate of appreciation as a speaker. Please allow the comment to take a photo as a documentary. 1, 2, 3. Once again, thank you to Ms. Nindya Nurmanasari for sharing your knowledge with us. Okay, next we move to the second topic about childhood obesity, school and obesogenic environment. That will be present by our second speaker, Ms. Dian Lutfiana Sufyan, SGZ, MGZ. She was born on February 18, 1992 in Jawa Timur. She is a lecturer in the Science Nutrition Department at UPN Veteran Jakarta. She also a reviewer at Health Ethic Research Comment Hertz at UPN Veteran Jakarta. She received her Bachelor of Nutrition degree at University of Brawijaya. She received her master's degree at the University of Indonesia. She has 2 publications. The first publication is about prevalence and factors associated to post-food food insecurity during COVID-19 outbreak 2021, that published in 2021. And her second publication is about nutrition knowledge determinants among undergraduate students selected in University in Jakarta, published in 2021. All right, without further ado, please welcome our second speaker, Ms. Dian Lutfiana Sufyan, SGZ, MGZ, with a round of applause.
Thank you, Macy. Let me share screen first, yeah. Okay. Is it shown on your screen, the presentation?
Yes.
Okay, let me slide show it. You can hear my voice clearly, right? Okay. Okay, if there's something trouble with my audio or with my presentation, just say something ya. Okay, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Hi, everyone. It is very nice to meet you. It is my honor to be able to share to all of you regarding this growing concern about the childhood obesity. So for today's webinar, we will be concerning on the school environment that possibly promoting the excessive weight gain among its students. So that's what we call a school obesogenic environment, that the school possibly promoting the unhealthy lifestyle to the other students. So without further ado, these are several outlines that we're going to discuss today. That is childhood obesity, the determinants, and the magnitude of the problem. And then we have this great environment linked to obesity that involve 4 dimensions. There is clinical dimension, and then there is socio-cultural policy, and also the economical. And then we will end up with the recommendation that we can propose to school, and also we are going to talk a bit about the healthy school canteen pillars. So WHO has mentioned that childhood obesity is 21st century challenge that affecting not only the affluent society, but also the low and middle income countries, particularly in urban settings. Let me use this pointer. There's a pointer, okay. Talking about childhood obesity, it's always reminding to this very character in the Up movie. I guess that you all have watched it, Up movies, that house that flying around with the balloons, that's so many, and flying to the waterfall. You may watch it, right? Okay, here Russell to me is perfectly depicting what we call as the obese children. He's obviously carrying the excessive weight around his abdomen here. That's what we define obesity, yeah, based on WHO, where the condition of someone that is having excessive fat accumulation in one's body, particularly in the abdominal area here. Well, it turns out that Russell is not alone. Particularly in Indonesia, here, this is the chart made out of the prevalence of overweight and obesity across the school level. And it turns out that the highest prevalence of overnutrition manifested as overweight and obesity is the highest is among the primary school children as compared to middle school, as compared to senior high school. So it implies that primary school children having the most biggest prevalence of overweight and obesity, and it implies that most obese children is at around age 6 to 12 years old. It's 20%. Okay, then if we discuss about what then cause obesity, what is the children going through that they become obese, we can refer to this several data that is coming from Indonesia Basic Health Research 2018. There are so many factors. Obesity is caused by multi-factors, but however, fundamentally, there are only 2 proximal factors that cause obesity, which is the lifestyle, the food intake, and the physical activity. Here we talk about how to close this pop-up of this mute and frenzy. Okay, I can see clearly the first chart. Okay, here the fruit and vegetable portion consumed per day on a children aged 5 to 9 years old and 10 to 14 years old. Very sad and very unfortunate that only respectively 3% of them who eat fruits and vegetables more than 5 portions per day that deem adequate by WHO. So WHO defined the adequate fruit and vegetable portion to be consumed by someone is more than 5 portions. And it's only 3% of our children who eat adequate fruits and vegetables. And most of them just eat 1 or 2 portions of fruits and vegetables per day in a week. Then how about the sugary food and beverage consumption? It is among 5 to 9 years old children. It is also so sad that almost 60%, it is 59% of our children aged 5 to 9 consume sweetened food and beverage is more than once a day. At least one a day, there is sugary food and beverage on their consumption. And then how about the physical activity as the other lifestyle? It is also said that it's more than 60% of them having inactive physical activity, only more than 30% that having active physical activity here. So this data is actually give us images what is going through by our children, Indonesian children, that make them then being obese. Okay. And the evidence-based research then suggested us that obese children will grow up into the obese adult. So childhood obesity is very strong predictor of adult obesity. So if one individual is obese at the childhood, they will become obese adult in the later life. They're carrying various risks of non-communicable diseases such as diabetes, then coronary heart disease, you can name it. So many diseases that can be carried by obese adult. And it turns out that the consequences is not always waiting. So it wasn't like, okay, if it will be appear in the adulthood, not like that. So the consequences can be short-term. Like, for instance, obese children tend to be the object of bullying and having the lower academic performance as compared to the normal weight children. And then if you are questioning why should we discuss about school environment, it is so obvious that our Education and Culture Ministerial Decree has regulated that children would spend around 8 hours a day at school. So outside the home life, it would be school that give immersive experience to children because they are directly and continuously interact with the whole school system, whether it is the teacher, is the subject, the school canteen, or just with the other students. So the first 2 decades of students' life are spent at school. So it makes sense to involve school environment when we talk about childhood obesity, because they spend their most time of them is spent in the school, and then at least they will consume foods and also doing physical activity is at school. Okay, and this is the great link to obesity that is introduced by Swinburne et al. In 1999. So the link to obesity involves 4 dimensions. There is a physical dimension that has things to do with school canteen, and then the exercise infrastructure, and then there is economical dimension that has things to do with the profit. Like, for instance, the profit from the school canteen, where it go? Is it go to school, or can the student use the exercise facilities with no charge? So things has things to do with economic. And then the school policy, whether the school has the policy to encourage the healthy lifestyle for the students or not. And then the sociocultural is about the views and the belief whether the school wants to encourage students to have a healthy lifestyle. So we are going to discuss this one by one. For the physical dimension, first is about the canteen. This slide is telling you about the study that has been conducted to investigate the food items in the school canteen. So it's coming from this study, this several studies. Let's see this chart first. Okay, this chart telling us several points. It's actually tell you about the best seller snack. What is the most popular snack among the students, primary school students, anak sekolah dasar. So there is this red bar that indicates the snack is bought from outside the school. So the competitive seller, street vendor. Jadi dari makanan di luar sekolah. And the blue bar is coming from the school canteen. So canteen inside the school. There is several points that we can depict it from this one chart only. Like most of them, the more snack is coming from the competitive seller, from the street vendor outside the school. And then the second point, that most snack that is bought by the children is mostly EDNP, energy dense nutrient poor foods, like minuman rasa-rasa, sweet beverage, and then cireng, fritters, gorengan here. And then we have also lidi. It is like all only like energy dense, nutrient poor food. So that the energy is very dense. It can boost your energy. However, the nutrition value is very low. And then when we are questioning why students act like so, there is this finding from the qualitative study. There is a question to the teacher. The teacher feels that the food choice that is behaved by student is actually influenced by several factors, like how much money they have in their pocket, obviously, and then what their friends eat. It is depicting the peer influence is playing a role on the food choice of the students. And then also they won't bring out their home packet lunch because it's deemed not cool, nggak keren, bawa bekal nggak keren. So that's why they act like so. And then what is left unsaid here, that most primary school canteens only had one food stall. So most primary school canteens only had one stall only. There's no many options. And this very one food stall did not have dedicated area to eat and sit. So that is why it is encouraged students to eat outside, because there's no enough space here. This photos is obtained from our last year project that is not yet published, so it's still unpublished. We can see here that actually the environment around the canteen is not enough, and the space is not enough, as it's not designed to be encouraging the healthy lifestyle for the students. Okay, the other physical dimension here about the canteen, I got this study from Rahma Dewi. This is very good study that she tried to having the situational analysis about the canteen in primary school. Here, there is a 14 criteria that can be entitled by the school canteen. It should be entitled by the school canteen. However, this highlighted, and we highlighted, yellow highlighted here, it is indicated that this point is lacking from the school. So the most criteria that is not complied by the school canteen is lacking of supervision. The school canteen isn't having the regular supervision. The school canteen has not enough hand washing stations, so the student and the other staff cannot maintain the personal hygiene, and there is no trained school canteen staff that probably we deem not required. But it is the food handler that is responsible for the school canteen needs to be trained for the food safety and about the nutrition, because they prepare what is eaten by the students. Okay, the other dimension about the physical factors from the grade linked to obesity is about the physical activity infrastructure. Here there are so many spectrum of the physical activity, but this study that has been investigated by Ip Ho et al. In 2017, they tried to associate some of the school physical activity environment with the obesity occurrence. And the highlighted ones here is the variable that is having the significant And the adjusted relative risk here, you can see that all the ARR that is highlighted is the protective factor because it is below 1 RR, right? So actually, when we saw that this very variable is having significant protective factor, when it's combined and then it's made to this chart, actually more than 3 variable here, it implies there is that there is lower obesity risk. So if this highlighted variable is combined, there is lower obesity risk that is found. So lower obesity risk has associated with larger school size and then more physical activity facilities and then longer teaching experience. Like the bigger or the larger your school, it is give the opportunity for the students to like playing around, to have fun, just move and have fun. And the more facilities regarding the physical activity the school has, the more students encouraged to be active on the physical activity. These two photos also obtained from our last year project. This is the school in primary Jakarta. I guess it is in central Jakarta. And this is from the East Jakarta, I guess. So having the school card is actually mandatory because it encourages students to have exercise. However, from these two photos, yeah, the facilities is not that decent. That there is some of the exercise equipment here is no longer good to be used. Okay, we proceed to the next dimension, which is the economic. The economical dimension of the grid linked to obesity is actually also having so many spectrum, but we here try to catch one spectrum, which is the food price in the canteen. So how much is the price on your of the item on the school canteen? This study that is conducted by Billik et al. In 2019 tried to compare the mean price of the healthy lunch items and the less healthy lunch item. It is very interesting that here we can say, I forgot to highlight it here. So the mean of the less healthy lunch items is much cheaper, than the healthy lunch items. And it is significant. Whether in the lunch item or the snack item, is always offering the cheaper price. So if the students wants to like eating the healthy lunch item, it won't be the option in the first place, because if they choose the healthy items, it will be cost them more expensive price than the less healthy items. So the cheaper price on less healthy food may not encourage purchasing the healthier option by the students. Okay, we proceed to the next dimension, which is the policy. Policy, it has things to do with the regulation of the school to encourage students having the active lifestyle and the eating the healthy food intake. Here, I show you the study that conducted by Miyawaki et al. At 2019. They try to observe about the school lunch program here. This is the school lunch that is provided in the school they studied. Here we can see if one receive the school lunch as compared that did not provide the school lunch in school, the percentage of the overweight and obesity among students is declined here. So decline percentage of overweight and obesity students is happen after the implementation of the school lunch program among male students and female students. The other program that was also encouraging this policy of grid that may link to the obesity is also investigated in Indonesia. So this both studies is conducted in Indonesia. So the first table here telling you about the findings of a study that is aimed to compare means of intake of fruits and vegetables, comparing those who bring the lunchbox, so yang bawa bekal, and comparing to those who receive school lunch that is provided by the school. So it's compare bekal and makan siang. We can see here that the mean of intake, fruits and vegetable intake, is significantly higher among those who receive lunch at school rather than just bringing your own lunchbox. Why? Even there is the occasion to have lunch together, it turns out that school did not regulate, you should buy these items, you should bring this vegetable, you should bring these fruits. So the school did not regulate that. So parents just prepare the children favorite. So if we give freedom to just bring anything, as long as you bring lunchbox, so parents just like tend to bring their child what is being the favorite, gitu. So not trying to like put the balanced diet on the lunchbox, because it's not, it could be giving that burden because there's so much preparation. For this down below, this table, this coming from the different studies, they trying to compare the mean intake during the school and the day off. So this all is coming from the PROGAS study, so program Gizi Anak Sekolah. So they try to compare how is the mean intake during the day school. So they receive the PROGAS, receiving the lunch from the school, and the day off, so they didn't receive, so they just eat at home. So here we can see that there is significant difference between those who receive the school at lunch at school, and the day off in terms of these food groups. So the staple food is different, significantly different, and the fruits also significantly different. Here the staple food is higher at home, and the fruits is lower at home. It is telling you that could be at home, they just eat whatever they want. It is not regulated as the school did. So it implies us that actually the program that is initiated at school should be extended at home life. Okay, how about the physical activity policy here? This is the randomized control trial study that is using the physical activity as the intervention. So the intervention is encouraging students to have active physical activity by making this colorful ground marking at the school card, and then initiate or encourage students to have the ice breaking during the recess or during the class break. And it turns out the finding is on this table. It is very interesting that it is significantly different. So the proportion of overweight and obese children is then reduced in the end of the year. So this intervention is conducted during 1 year, and the end of the study, the proportion of overweight and obesity children is significantly reduced. This is from 41, and in the end of the year, it's become 28 only. So overweight and obesity decreased significantly within the group who had intervened by the physical activity program. So this aim of the study is actually just, we cannot like make children just move without any reason. So we need to build the environment for them. The physical activity is for fun, just and only for move, without any education or academic consequences. Okay, proceed to the next dimension, sociocultural factors. So from this study that is conducted by Lin et al. In 2014, it is gives us insight that the sociocultural factors can be built if we are encouraging teachers to become the role models for healthy lifestyle, not only healthy eating actually, but also having active physical activity. And also we can involve parents about the importance of everyday good nutrition for the children during the parents meeting. And also to be more comprehensive, we can also put nutrition as a mandatory subject in curriculum. Okay, so what can we recommend for this to adopt this healthy lifestyle? First, we can woven the nutrition and physical activity into curriculum. If that was too sudden, we can wove this nutrition and physical activity not with the academic consequences. So just teach them, just educate them, but it has nothing to do with the score on the academic performance. And then we can offer the healthier foods options in the canteen and limit access to sugary food and beverage. We can start like having the regulation like it is forbidden to go out of school during the recess. It could be like that. And we can promote active recess time. So we can encourage students to be active during the class break. Like for instance, we can have the regulation for the school like it is forbidden to stay at the classroom during the recess. It could be like that. So it encourages them just to be outside the class and doing things that more active for them. And then we can also initiate the regular screening of students' PMI by cooperation with the Puskesmas could be. So we can here having the surveillance data and also doing the monitoring and evaluation. So we know how is the magnitude of the obesity in our school. And then we can ensure the competitive foods, which is the street vendors outside the school to meet healthy nutrition standards. And then make the drinking water freely. So we encourage them just to drink water, just plain water, not the sugary. So it won't encourage them to buy if we make or provide drinking water just freely for them. So they can refill, just bring their drinking bottle. And then we can provide physical education per week without the academic consequences. Like now, the physical education, we have the academic consequences. Like if I remember on my senior high school life, I need to like doing this much sit-ups or push-up to be just okay with that subject. Nowadays, doing the physical education subject, and also physical activity doesn't need to have the academic consequences because it won't the same among the other students. And the last recommendation is assign teacher on ongoing the health education trainings. So we can train the teachers to be role models for the healthy lifestyle. These are the 4 pillars for healthy canteen that is coming from the handbook that is published by Simeo Rekpon. So there are 4 pillars to build a healthy canteen. First is about the commitment from the principal. So the principal and the whole school system has to commit that they want a healthy canteen. And this commitment should be documented, whether in the written statement or the policy that's signed by the school principal. And also, the school need to have the supervising team. So having the supervisor to monitor and giving the evaluation about the canteen that is established inside the school. The second pillar is about the infrastructure, sarana dan prasarana. About this very infrastructure, we need to be sure that the construction building from the canteen is permanent, not semi-permanent canteen that can be like dangerous for the students. And then we need to ensure the sanitation facility, that there is enough hand washing station sink, and then having the pest control, that not too many animals like cats or even cockroach there. It can be dangerous for the food safety. And we need to ensure that the food storage and dining area is having the dedicated enough space for them to store the food, to dining area. And then the third pillars is about human resources. Yeah, we need to train the food sellers, since they are the food handlers for the students. And then the seller needs to maintain the personal hygiene and using and wearing personal protective equipment, PPE, APD, alat pelindung diri, during that purchasing activity. And also we need to ensure the food quality, mutu pangan. So we need to ensure that the food is offered for the student is safe from the hazard, whether it is the biological hazard, chemical, and also the physical hazard. Okay, I guess that's all from me. Thank you. Looking forward for the discussion. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you very much, Ms. Dian, for giving us such interesting presentation. Now, let's get into the Q&A session. Okay, the first question, how to implement education about obesity in children? Then, what is the important role of parents in dealing with this situation?
Okay.
Cara implement.
Should I answer directly? Or you can, okay, I will answer directly. Yeah, about the education about the in the obese children. Of course, there is multi factors, and also there is so many parties that we can involve in this very growing concern. Like for instance, we can put the nutrition and also the healthy lifestyle in the curriculum, whether it can be mandatory, so it has the academic consequences, or just like education without any academic consequences, so it won't become on your raport gitu, nggak masuk di rapotnya gitu. And also we need to educate the teachers and also the parents, because they have their own roles on this. Like for instance, the teacher need to be the role models, and the parents need to be extend this program at home. So it won't be unfortunate if we are really initiate this very nice program at school, but at home they just come back to the less healthy lifestyle. And what is the important roles of parents in dealing with this? Yeah, of course, the parents need to be the guard of this healthy lifestyle when the children is at home. Like I said earlier, it is very unfortunate if we initiate this program at school, however, it's not extended at home. So it should be both at school and at home doing the healthy lifestyle. I guess like that.
Okay, the next question, how to keep the children from obesity in an unsupportive school environment, and what is the role of parents at home so that children avoid obesity?
Okay, how to keep children from obesity in an unsupportive school environment. That was okay. There are so many things that need to be constructed, and also this is the role for the local health department, Dinkes, and also the health Ministry of Health that can be also involved. The school, okay, they won't be really aware about what happened, and could be view the obesity as not a problem at all. So that is why it is needed another party that actually wake them up that, hey, this is really a challenge nowadays, and we need to build supportive school environment. So there is a need of another party to just working together with school to build this supportive school environment, actually. And the roles of parents, of course, they need also to encourage students, encourage their children at home to continue their healthy lifestyle at home, like providing foods and then doing exercise together. I think like that.
Okay, the last question. What if children under 20 years of age are obese? Should they limit their eating? Because it's still in its infancy, and when it's middle school, the activities will definitely increase. Bagaimana jika anak usia di bawah 12 tahun obesitas, apakah harus membatasi makanannya karena masih dalam masa pertumbuhan dan ketika SMP pasti kegiatannya bertambah?
Okay, yeah, we can see that obviously on the chart coming from Indonesia Basic Health Research, that it's obviously decreasing during the middle school and senior high school. However, it won't always like that. Like, for instance, we know that children need to grow up and also thriving. However, we need to see what is consumed by the children. As I mentioned earlier, that obese children, even in the middle of their life, become normal weight, they still carrying the risk of obese adults. So they will still like rebound their risk of obesity. So even though they are obese children and then become normal weight, when they come on the adulthood, they still carrying the risk of obesity. About the food restriction, need to be consulted with the nutritionist, because the case for every children is actually different, and there is one that is actually having a problem for controlling foods, or just because their physical activity. So it's really having a different case in every children. We need to like break down whether the food intake is the problem or the physical activity. If it's the food intake, then we need to see again what is food and what is the food consumption they are going through, whether they have the habit for consuming the sugary food and beverage, then it needs to be restricted. If they are having difficulty on eating vegetable and fruit, then we need to encourage. But it is not always the problem. What if the physical activity become the problem? Then we need to encourage them. So the food intake is one spectrum. The other spectrum is physical activity. I guess, I hope that's answer your question.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Dian, for answering all the questions. It is now the time to do a photo session. To take an educational presentation, we would like to give you a small gift by giving a certificate of a present as a speaker. Please allow the comment to take a photo as a documentary.
Okay.
1, 2, 3. Once again, thank you, Ms. Dian, for giving your time and knowledge to us.
Okay, thank you, all the committees. This so excites me to like share this topic, because it was my research interest. So thank you so much.
Okay, next we move to third and last speaker, Ms. Dr. Nur Intania Sofianita, SPCOM MKM, who will be presenting about children's eating behavior. He is the Lecturer and Research Science Nutrition Department in UPN Veteran Jakarta. She was born on October 20, 1984 in Sumbawa Besar, NTB. She received her Bachelor of Communication degree at University of Pajajaran. She received her Master degree of Public Health at University of Indonesia. She has 2 publications. The first publication is about identification of balanced nutrition in Indonesia elementary school curriculum that will be published in 2020. And her second publication is about nutrition education on vegetables, fruit, and fish for elementary school children, published in 2021. All right, now let us welcome Ms. Dr. Nur Intania to deliver her presentation. For Ms. Dr. Nur Intania, you may start your presentation.
Okay, thank you, moderator. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you to all the webinar participants who attended the International Nutrition Webinar on Mental Health and Nutrition among School-age Children. My name is Nur Intania Sofianita, as the third speaker today, who will share a little information about the eating behavior of children in Indonesia. Next. Here are some outlines that I will share with you all. The first is about children eating behavior in Indonesia. The next is about the impact of risky eating behavior and lack of vegetable and fruit and factors that influence children eating behavior. And the last one, healthy eating strategies and suggestions for children. Next. The following are some of the problems of food consumption in school children. The first concerns the lack of consumption of vegetable and fruit. Next, regarding the selection and consumption of what they like, then there are still many students who skip breakfast. Furthermore, the lack of physical activity, especially at this time, is still the occurrence of the COVID-19 pandemic, so that school students are still running distance learning or school from home. And there are still many students who eat the same food they like every day, so there is lack of variety in the menu. Next. Next, please. Okay. Unbalanced patterns of consumption are still a nutritional issue that could have an effect on the rise in the prevalence of undernutrition and overnutrition in Indonesia, especially in the 5 to 12-year age group who enter school age and need nutritious food intake for growth and development. They need to sustain their daily food consumption. National statistics show that the behavior on consuming risky food is still high in children who consume the most seasoning, sweet foods and drinks, fatty foods, and the behavior on consuming less vegetable and fruit. Consuming unbalanced diet impact the nutritional status and health children. Next. Okay. The following are the results of my research on the consumption of vegetable and fruit school children in Bogor Regency, West Java, Indonesia, which involved 433 grade 5 elementary school students in 8 public elementary school, Bogor Regency, West Java, Indonesia. This is a description of respondent daily consumption in this study was collected 24 hours food recall. The result of the studies show that the student average consumption of vegetables and fruit was still very low. The recommended balanced nutrition guideline is to consume at least 400 grams of vegetable and fruit per day, with details 250 grams of vegetables and 150 grams of fruit. Children are rarely referred to as controlling food choice in the household. However, the influence indirectly through the demand, conception, and acceptance or rejection of the food served to them. This is what happens a lot nowadays. Parents, especially mothers, have provided vegetables on the table, but children rarely want to eat them for reason that they don't taste good, smell, and taste bitter. As well as the total consumption of energy, protein, fat, and fiber is still very less than the RDA. Some studies also show the same result, like studies from Lim et al. To 2020, showing that more than 80% of children consume less than the recommended serving daily. One of the most common problem is the availability of vegetable and fruit and children appetite for the food served. As in the result of my research, children choose and consume food based on the availability of vegetable and fruit at home, at school, and the taste and smell of the meal. Study from the Adamo et al. 2021 show that not appetizing could be due to a lack of variety in taste, so it's necessary to add other spices or you can increase species vegetable intake in children. Okay, next. Okay, as shown in the table that there are still many elementary school students who consume carbohydrates, protein, fat, and fiber, which are still less than the RDA, although there are some children who consume excess protein, fat, and carbohydrates. Okay, next. Okay, this is about availability, nutrition knowledge, and eating habit of children. The availability of vegetables and fruit at home is very important because vegetable and fruit are a source of vitamins, mineral, and fiber that the body needs. Lack of consumption of vegetable and fruit will increase the risk of a non-communicable disease. And then the result of my research show that the availability of vegetable is quite good, above 50%, but the availability of fruit is still below 50%. This is because some of the fruits that children like are expensive, so they are rarely available on consume at home. Next, about the nutritional knowledge of students. The result of this study indicate that knowledge about nutrition is still lacking by 95.4%. There are still many students who do not know about gizi seimbang. So what they know is only about 4 sehat 5 sempurna and vegetable are soapy food. So whatever has soap, even took that the content are not vegetable, they call them vegetables. Next, about children eating habits. The result of the study saw that 60% of children are accustomed to consuming vegetable and 60.3% of fruit. Changing eating behavior in children takes time and effort. Besides providing nutritional education, the most important thing is the availability of nutritionally balanced healthy food. Rarely available vegetable and fruit at home and school also affect the children eating habits. Okay, next. Okay, this is about nutritional status of elementary school students in Bogor Regency, West Java, Indonesia. The result of my study on nutritional status show that there are still children with overweight and obesity, nutritional status, and severe wasting and wasting. As we all know, that overweight and obesity in children is caused by various factors, including environmental factors, preferences, and cultural environment, all of which contribute to the increased prevalence of obesity. Excess sugar consumption, larger portion size, and continued decline in physical activity play a major role in increasing the prevalence of obesity worldwide. Obesity in childhood can severely affect a child's physically, social, and emotional health and self-esteem, which can lead to poor academic achievement and lower quality of life. Okay, next. Okay, why the target is school children? Good eating behavior developed in early life can be sustained until adulthood. Children's food pattern is influenced by school and home environment. In elementary school, children are already able to choose their own food and drink, and knowledge of nutrition and availability of healthy food. Okay. Okay, next about the impact of risky eating behavior and lack of vegetable and fruit on school-age children. We all know that the importance of vitamins and minerals that are abundant in vegetable and fruit are needed in many metabolic processes of the body, so that the impact of vitamin and mineral deficiency is not immediately visible, but the long-term impact of deficiency will affect children's growth. Body metabolism, which cause children to be malnourished and susceptible to illness. Lack of consumption of vegetable and fruit will increase the risk of non-communicable diseases as cardiovascular disease, hypertension, cancer, diabetes, obesity, and disturbances in digestion and vision. Next, these some factors that influence children eating behavior. Factors of food availability and parenting patterns, socioeconomics, number of family members, and knowledge, attitude, and individual nutrition practice. Okay, next about the availability food and parenting pattern. According to the several studies, okay. According to the several studies, the availability and parenting patterns of the family are closely related to children eating behavior, like the study from Patrick and Nicholas 2005, which indicates that children are more likely to eat food that are readily available, and they tend to eat more when larger portions are provided. So that the more often the food is available, the more often the child will eat it. The larger the portion served, the more likely they will eat. Next study from Yi et al. 2017. The factor of food availability and the influence of parenting patterns have a strong relationship in the consumption of healthy and unhealthy foods in children. And next study from Larson et al. 2015 mentioned about parents' function as gatekeepers who can support and control healthy dietary behavior in children, and parents create food choices through the purchase and preparation of food indirectly influence children's food choice by setting rules, providing information, and shaping their behaviors. And parents as role models of eating behavior at home, parents' eating patterns will affect children's eating patterns. Okay, next. Okay, this is about socioeconomics and number of family members. Family income determines how much will be spent on buying food. Of course, this will be related to the selection of food that will be consumed by the family. The more the number of families, the greater the expenditure to buy food. In general, highly educated individuals tend to have high quality of eating, so it's more likely to choose healthy food to consume. Okay, next. Okay, next. This is about knowledge, attitude, and then nutrition practice. Improve knowledge, attitude, and behavior through nutrition education in school. Nutrition education programs can involve parents, especially mother, teacher, and student. And nutrition education can be in the form of nutrition counseling or cooking and eating a balanced nutritional menu together at school. Okay, next. What would you do if children refuse to eat vegetable and fruit? Allowing them to choose their own food, sweet, fatty, savory foods, Keep providing vegetable and fruit and persuading them to eat. Give an example to eating vegetable and fruit while telling them to benefit of the fruit and vegetable. Okay, next. Now, this is about healthy eating strategy and suggestion for children. Next. Here are some tips and tricks that families can do to increase their children consumption of vegetable and fruits. One, fruit and vegetables should be served with unique pieces. Serve piece of fruit with unique shape to attract children's attention. From here, the child's perception will begin to change that apparently fruit and vegetables are not as scary as he or she imagined all this time. Two, introduce sweet fruit first. You can add additional spices to variety menu of fruit and vegetable. Do not introduce fruit with a hard texture, sour taste, as they are less attractive to children. Fruit with a sweet taste are generally preferred by children. Be sure you can to introduce fruit with a fresh and sweet taste first, such as watermelon, banana, or papaya. Okay, next. Okay, modification in other form like ice cream, salad dressing, etc. Serve fruit and vegetable in different forms. Children are often curious about new things. Creative way can increase children's passion for consuming fruit and vegetable. For example, you can modify fruit by making fruit soup, turning vegetable into pudding, etc. Don't give too many types of fruits and vegetables at once. The variety of types of fruit and vegetable given to children must also be regulated. Don't get too close to giving variety. For example, give a range of between 7 to 10 days to introduce one fruit to children, or it could even take more than 10 times to introduce one type of fruit or vegetable. Because each child has a different ability to identify about flavors, the fruit or vegetable. Okay, next. Okay. Invite your little ones to participate like peeling fruit or washing vegetable. It can also be done by inviting children to prepare fruit and vegetables so that children are more interested in trying to eat fruit. Invite children to peel fruit or wash vegetable. This is useful for teaching children to prepare fruit and vegetable that they will consume. Insert it in the food supply. Add in to eat at school. Be consistent in giving the child a menu of fruits and vegetables. For example, add fruit to the child lunch. This can make him regular to consume fruit. The variation can also be adjusted according to the child's preference. Next. Okay. Okay, the last one. So it with action. Children are lazy to eat fruit and vegetable to manufacture, and one of them is because he rarely sees his mother's father eating vegetable and fruit. Parents should also be able to show that they like the vegetable and fruit provided at home. Okay, this is the end of my presentation. I apologize if there is a presentation explanation that is unclear. You can ask me question, give suggestion and opinion. Thank you all for your attention. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Okay, thank you very much, Ms. Nur Intania, for giving a such knowledgeable presentation. Now, it's time to get into the Q&A session. Okay, the first question, how to deal with a child's tantrum who don't want to eat what mom has made, and how to deal with children who do not want to eat at all. Bagaimana mengatasi tantrum anak yang tidak mau makan apa yang sudah ibu buat, dan bagaimana mengatasi anak yang tidak mau makan sama sekali. For Ms. Nur Intania Sofiani,
Okay.
you might answer the question.
Okay. Okay. I answer your question. Okay. You can make several menus in small quantities and don't force children to eat because it will be stretch them out. Maybe you can make several menu from okay, maybe you can make several menu with hello.
Yes, I listen for you.
Hello.
Yes.
Can you hear me? Hello.
Yes, I can hear you. You clear.
Okay. You can make several menu from okay. Okay, I'm so sorry very much about the connection. Can you hear me now? Hello?
Yes. I can hear you very clearly.
Okay. Okay. You can make several menu with different tastes. Yeah. Maybe like soup with wortel and kentang, or hello. Oh my God. Hello?
Yes, Miss.
Okay, hello?
Yeah. Yes, I can hear you very clearly.
Okay, you can make a different taste menu and don't force the child to eat. You can wait for his hunger to come. That's my answer for this question. Thank you.
Okay. Second question, how to change children's habit in eating patterns into good eating patterns because they are already used to the culture at home, don't like the consumption of vegetables and fruit. Bagaimana cara mengubah kebiasaan anak dalam pola makan menjadi pola makan yang baik karena sudah terlanjur terbiasa dengan budaya di rumah atau tidak suka mengkonsumsi sayur dan buah.
Okay. Okay, changing eating behavior in children takes time and effort. Besides, you can also always providing the vegetable and fruit at home. The most thing is the availability of nutritionally balanced healthy food. Rarely available vegetable and fruit at home and school also affect a child eating habits. So you can also give them or providing persuade them or always give them fruit and persuade them to want to eat vegetable and fruit. And you can also do the tricks. You can also do the tricks. Show it with action. Parents should also be able to show that they like the vegetable and fruit provided at home. So you can show the child you like the vegetable and fruit in front of her or him. Maybe that's my answer for the question. Thank you.
Okay. Last question. What if the child doesn't like the side dish that his parents gave him? Should still be given but the consumption is little or how? Bagaimana jika anak tidak suka lauk yang diberikan orang tuanya, harus tetap diberikan, tapi makannya sedikit atau seperti apa?
Okay. I give example like a fish here. Like fish, they don't like the smell of fish. You can replace it with other food contain protein, or maybe your child Okay, this is my answer for the question. You can be given with other variety menu which he likes or she likes, or you can give samples of vegetable and fruit or other food with the taste of sweet taste or good smell. etc. That's my question of. That's my answer for the question. Thank you.
Okay, thank you for Ms. Nur Intania Sofianita.
Hello.
For
Hello.
Yes. Yes, Miss.
I'm so sorry. My connection is unstable here. Hello.
Your connection is fine, Miss. I can hear your voice clearly.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Okay, thank you, Ms. Nur Intania Sofianita, for answering all the questions. Next, to thank you for your educational presentation, we would like to give you a certificate of operation as a speaker. Please allow the comment to take a photo as a documentary. Okay, 1, 2, 3. Okay, once again, thank you, Ms. Nur Intania, for sharing with us as a speaker in this conference.
Okay, thank you for all of you participate our webinar. Thank you very much.
Okay. Thank you so much to our 3 speakers for giving us insightful and educational material. We can thank you enough for this new information that will be useful for us later, and we have to meet you all soon in person. Now, I'd like to summarize that material all 3 speakers have shared with us today. First, introducing the management of emotion to school-age children. Conclusion, the pandemic affects the children's physiological condition because first, the limitation of children's space to move and socialize with others. 2, they are not being able to meet friends in person. 3, online school. This condition makes the change of behavior that may appear from the children such as not eager to learn, not paying attention while attending online classroom, and getting anxious whenever hearing the sound ambulance siren, teasing their siblings at home, getting bored, and being addicted to games. But not all children experience negative effects because of the pandemic. It all depends on the surrounding environment. Children will have good mental health if they grow up in conducive and supportive environment so they can manage their emotion appropriately. It's really necessary to introduce emotion to children because understanding the emotion will reduce the children's anxiety, developing their emotional intelligence, being able to calm themselves. It will help the parents, and they also will have a good mental health. There are 3 steps to introduce the emotion to children. First, name the emotion. 2, admit the emotion being felt. 3, manage the emotion. Material 2, childhood obesity in school obesogenic environment. Childhood obesity is one of the most serious global public health challenges of the 21st century that steadily affect many low and middle income countries, particularly in urban settings. Among school-aged children, the high prevalence of overweight and obesity in primary school students aged 6 and 21 years old, children obesity is a strong predictor of adult obesity, which has well-known health and economic consequences, both good for the individual and society as a whole. Obesity in children can currently occur. Prevention can start from keeping a clean and healthy school environment. Why school environment concern for obesity prevention? Because the prevention decades of student life are spent at school. Children spend 8 hours a day at school, where they consume breakfast, lunch, and or snacks during class breaks. Children directly and continuously interact with the whole system. There are several ways to improve the school environment to prevent obesity. First, the canteen must have a good supervision, hand washing station, and trained staff. Second, large school size, more PA facilities, enough space and design facilities for students moving around, It's mandatory to encourage physical activity. Health food have to be cheaper than unhealthy food. Woven the nutrition and physical activity in the curriculum. Healthy food offerings in the cafeteria and limit access to surgery via need. Material 3. Children's eating behavior. There are some consumption problems in school children. Vegetables and fruits are rarely consumed, and consume all certain foods that they like skip breakfast, lack of physical activity, and less consumption of a variety of foods. Children's eating behavior in Indonesia, its consumption and balanced diet impacts the nutritional status and health of children. This behavior, if it continues, will be a bad impact for the children and lead children to obesity. Obesity in childhood can severely affect a child's physical, social, and emotional health and self-esteem, which can lead to poor academic achievement and lower quality of life. Food consumption behavior is daily eating habit that influenced by many factors, including factor food availability, parenting pattern, socioeconomics, number of family members, knowledge, attitude, and individual nutrition practice. All right, we finally come to the end of this webinar. I want to thank the speaker once again for the interesting presentation and the participants for cooperating with us and being very active about this seminar. I, as a moderator, also want to apologize if there are any mistakes I made during the show. Hopefully, this conference will be useful for all of you. Let me send my gratitude by uploading all speakers and the audience. Thank you for participating and hope to meet you all again soon. Okay, thanks. I'll return in the end.
Thank you so much, moderator and all the speakers. It was really such an informative presentation, but now sadly I have to say that we're nearly into the closing. Ladies and gentlemen, we have come to the end of today's agenda. To all participants, please fill the attendance form. Link for the attendance form will be given in the Zoom chat column and YouTube comment section. I'd like to remind you all, the certificate will be given to the first 500 participants who have filled the attendance form. So do not miss out. Also, don't forget to take screenshot of your screen as a proof of attendance. Those are the agenda we have presented to you all this morning. We hope today's event can bring new insight that can be used in our daily life. Before we close this event, I'd like to invite you all to join the next webinar. It is International Webinar about Healthy Eating Pattern for Quality of Life that will be held on October 9, 2021. As the Master of Ceremony, I do apologize if there are any mistakes while presenting this webinar. Thank you so much for your attention. See you on the next occasion. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Have a good day, everyone.
Have a good day. Thank you, all the committees and the participants.